So looking at the feedback of the last episode of the RCDB series, I can't help but notice that you guys seem to enjoy that episode. So, welcome to the next one, where we're going to go straight back on RCDB and see if we can build another random coaster that isn't a wacky worm, because I don't want to build one of those and they're awful. Last episode, we built Looping Star. It was a Schwarzkopf Looping Star, I think. Actually, no, it's considered a silver arrow upon research, because I didn't realise it's actually a clone of Scorpion at Busch Gardens Tampa, which would have been very helpful, because there's many POVs of that ride. But alas, we did actually end up doing that, and I've got it in this file. But this time, we're going to go and see if we can get something slightly more unique. So I'm going to hop onto RCDB, and let's see what we get. Alright, so we're back on RCDB, and I don't know what jungle flying squirrel is, but hopefully I'm going to click and we'll get something slightly interesting. Please don't be Fury 325, because I don't want to build a coaster that's lost the support. That's a wacky worm. Viper. Okay, it's a wooden coaster. That looks doable. Okay, alright, it's a wooden coaster. Right, I'm not sure if this thing's still a thing. It is! Right, we're doing a wooden coaster then. Alright, we're doing Viper at Six Flags. This kind of looks like the Cyclone clone. Oh yeah, because it is. Right, okay, let's hop into I need a PTC then, probably because I'm reading that. Let's hop into Planet Coaster and make this thing. Alright, so we're going for a sort of classic PTC wooden coaster. It's one of the Cyclone models that they built in the 90s for the Six Flags Park. I think there's another one somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure. Could be wrong about that. It's a coaster, basically. So I'm gonna give myself an hour for this one, because it's a little bit more simple and there's no custom supporting required for this, because obviously it's a wooden coaster. I can just leave the auto-gen ones on. But if I give myself an hour, I can also then maybe make it slightly smooth. But to be honest, I don't know this coaster at all, so we're just going to get in, and I'm going to start the timer now. Right, good thing is, the trains on this ride, I think, are the same ones that are in Planko. Yes, they are. Perfect. So we even have the correct trains for this. We have these. So this has got 5 cars. There we go. Perfect. We're already at a good start. And let's get going. I think the first thing this thing does is it goes out the station and goes down. Is that turn like a 90-degree bend, or what do we say? No, that's definitely like a sort of ends about there-ish turn. It's then, and then does another left-hander where it will then get 90 degrees and it will do the lift hill. Okay, perfect. It's quite far away from the station, to be honest, which is a bit of a surprise. Alright, cool. So this thing's got a height of 100 feet. I need to level the terrain, because if I don't, we're going to have the wrong height. It's exactly 100 feet, which is, I think, about 35 meters, if I'm not wrong. We'll go with that, and then we'll do that, and then we'll go up, and up. To the big 100, that's 105, so we get to that. Looking at some pictures from RCDB, it has a very weird curved drop. Levels off at about this crest, and then this is where the fun begins. Yeah, I'd say it looks sort of like that. Let's check the POV. So towards the top of the lift hill, that chain runs out and then becomes a pretty... Oh, oh my god, it crawls towards the top of the lift hill. Oh my god. That's pretty steep for a wooden coaster, actually. And it's got a drop of 80 feet. Yeah, that'll do, because it's roughly the same height there. So you'll do that drop. That is pretty cursed shaping, but it's kind of wooden coaster shaping, so it's not too bad. Because I'm from the UK and I don't really keep up with American coasters very much. This is one of those rides that I barely knew existed. I did know it exists and I remember it, but I know very little about it. So if you're local to this coaster, if a Great Adventure is your home park and you like this ride, I'm very sorry, because this is going to be the most inaccurate representation of this ride. Probably produced by mankind ever. Let me get to the bottom so I can just check what the shaping looks like. Okay, so it's pretty much straight, and then it gets to sort of here, where it then pretty much starts to level out. It's not a very banked turn, but it's got a little bit of banking, I would say. And then it gets to the top, and it levels out pretty sharply like that. Oh, and it's sloped downwards, which would, I suppose, make sense. Yeah, looks about right. We have gone very, very close to our other ride. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. Yep, that'll do. And then if I start have it come down now, you won't notice that lack of big turn, and then it'll just straighten out at that angle there. But it weirdly goes through the lift hill but turns left, which means I think I do need to actually bring that. The angle seems okay. I think maybe the radius. I think maybe this is just like needs to be over here a bit more. Yeah, I think that's definitely what needs to happen. So I now need to fix this turn. So now it needs to get, it gets very, okay, that's good. So it gets very close to the track above it, which is what it sort of does in real life, but I think I might need to raise this. So I shall do that by steepening that slightly. That's quite high actually, might lower that. But then as it crests the top of this hill, it then goes, we start going left. I've got very, very little experience building wooden coasters in this game, because I've never built a wooden coaster in this game. Well, not that I've never built one, I've never finished one. And I've never chose to build one using 1 or 2 meter, apart from maybe the 50-foot challenge video. That is about the only exception to the rule. And the truth is I don't really get motivated by wooden coasters very much. The only exceptions really maybe are some of the GCIs and gravity groups. But I don't really have a big interest in them, to be honest. I'm much more of a steel coaster person. So this ride, this turn is very bizarre. It's like slightly curved. It pretty much hugs the structure to its left, so I need to try and aim for that. Then we're going down. Did I manage to get that? I actually got that literally on the nose. Oh, but we're turning. Whoops, I didn't mean to keep turning after that. What sort of angle is that? Is that on the nose with that, or is it to get closer to it? I'll level it out about there. We don't really have many wooden coasters like this in the UK that are like sort of off the shelf, if you will. The most we would say we have is the Big Dipper. But we have more unhinged rides, like the Grand National, which is the smoothest coaster in existence if you've never been to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. So make sure to ride that on a wheel seat because you get the full experience. This is a joke. We have, how long do we have left? We have 40 minutes left. Okay, I'm not too worried about this this timer. I think we should be able to finish this, and then if needs be, we can adjust the shaping. I've actually managed to get the angle perfect so that we're hugging the structure to the left, which is what the real ride does. But the real ride has overhangs to the right, but that's not something I'm going to do, so it's okay. Right, okay. I see how this ride works now. It goes back on itself again. I thought it went back on itself. Basically what happens is it comes out here between the two bits, which is very cool. Except this curve is quite long. Oh, we are quite far away from everything else. That is quite a large misalignment there, but okay, this is not coming along too badly at all. This looks like the ride. Again, I'm not too well versed on wooden coasters, but this is not too bad for a random coaster, to be honest. We could have been done a lot more dirty there. Alright, so after this turn, what does it do? And then it goes into a little, like, straight section. Okay, we're getting quite poor track performance, so I'm just going to give myself a lot of performance now. Oh, it works wonders on the wooden coaster. Yep, and then level out. It basically just follows the structure it's next to, which is, I would say, something that a lot of wooden coasters, or at least traditional wooden coasters, definitely used to do. Yeah, and then it goes down, pulls up into a fairly low to the ground. It's like a kind of speed hill on a wooden coaster, which is kind of cool. Commentary is very minimal on this because of the concentration needed. But I said that last episode, so I suppose it becomes a bit of a how well can Harry multitask when it comes to building a coaster he's never ever seen before. It's just another one of those angled bank turns, where it then goes to the left of the lift. Oh god, it goes to the left of the lift hill, really? Actually, I suppose with the angle I've got, we should be able to do that with fairly minimal stress. And then it's like a left-right. Oh, I'm guessing it's to dodge. Right, okay, I see. So it's to dodge the other bits of track around it. So the comes out here. Ah! We are collided with the rest of the track, which means we're going to have to apply a small amount of banking here in order to correct the error that I have clearly made. And then it just goes into this weird, drawn out bank turn. One thing I am going to do is nothing, actually. I'm just going to leave it as is. Alright, so it's what's the sort of brake section look like? Alright, so it's got a fairly long block zone there. I don't know why I haven't angled this. Because it's a wooden coaster, everything is angled, or at least I suppose it's one of those newer generation wooden coasters where not everything is angled, but straighten it out there. I will adjust the shaping of this height-wise in a little bit. Once we come to finish the layout, and we're getting autosave. We can get on to actually finishing the ride now. It's just a very, very simple final curve into the brake run with nothing really of interest. Snap that in, and now we can just adjust the shaping of this final turn because it's a little bit sort of strange. It's quite a sharp decline, followed by a fairly high turn there, which then goes down into the brakes. If we widen the first turn, then we fix quite a few problems down the line. Right. So, now that this is done, I think it's an important thing that we test it to make sure it will clear. So, the inaugural test run of Viper at Great America. I mean, it does, but it crawls, so I'm gonna lower that slightly. Stalled! We have stalled. Right, one thing I'm gonna fix is I'm gonna knock the friction down to 0.8, and we've got some turns to lower. So first things first, this entire turn needs to be... I'm gonna go 78 feet instead, which will give us a more gentle pull out, followed by a more gentle entrance to the turn. Okay, cool, done, right. Yeah, that's similar to the other one. That's better. It's a little slow on this corner, but it's not too bad. That might need lowering. Oh no, that's pretty good actually. Oh no, that's not going to make that. Okay, we are... What is wrong with the pacing on this thing? Is it the valleys? Maybe we need to lower all the valleys. I'm gonna lower all the valleys to the bottom level and instead go with that. I mean, granted, it's also probably losing some energy from the bumps in the track, so once those are ironed out, it should be a little better. Nah, it's not going to clear through the rest of this. I think maybe the friction, maybe? Yeah, friction might be our only hope. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with starting smoothing now, because that's, I think, really what's going to help our pacing, is that it's probably losing a lot of energy when it comes to these bumps in the track, because obviously it sees it as different transitions. See, it's riding a little bit faster through here because the shaping's not quite as bad. Now we just go to that valley and we smooth that. Right, cool, done. Next is this whole section here, which is there. It's good. And then, yeah, this turn... Ooh, hang on, that is not going to smooth properly if we don't fix that. I mean, another alternative is, if obviously we're having pacing issues, is we could just lower the entire station. I need to re-smooth that anyway, so it's not really like it's a huge problem. This is definitely the least accurate and involved probably coaster we're going to get on this RCDB series, just because wooden coasters are very, very simple in their shaping, and they don't really require very much detail and attention. Unless you're going for a hyper-realistic recreation, you could do very vague shaping and it's still accurate to how most wooden coasters are, and especially this one. It's just a lot of flat curves and corners, which make it very, very easy to recreate quickly. Especially when you only have 15 minutes to spare to do all the banking. It's made a weird wiggle, but that's fine. It's a wooden coaster. It's going to have its quirks. Right. Let's see how well this has turned out in an hour. It seems to have considerably much more speed than the previous times. And lo and behold, it did. So, how did we do? Not that I care about ratings, but what did I get? Oh, it won't tell me because I changed it. Right, first thing we're going to do now is we're going to fix the banking, and also this turn because it's slightly wobbly. I did want to thank you guys for the support on the first RCDB video, because I know I read some of the comments and you guys thought that this was a really interesting series and you wanted me to... I've invented RMC. A lot of you guys said that this was a really interesting series and you wanted to see me do more, so... yeah, again, if you enjoyed this episode, I will probably continue doing this as best I can over the summer before I have to move on to some other things, but... I do have, well, something exciting to announce now, that I have a potential future recreation, whether or not it's a series or not, of another UK coaster, which might debut at some point in the future, so stay tuned for that. It's another coaster recreation project where I want to go for hyper-realism, and I want to test the limitations of the game. What is this? Oh, it's gone. It didn't come back, brilliant. Yeah, I do have another coaster project in the works, which is again going to focus on hyper-realism, but that is still very early days at the moment. But in the future, I may potentially release it. So if you'd like to see another Nemesis-style weekly updates, or a time-lapse video, or weekly episodes of what I've done or something, let me know in the comments, and I will I'll get on it, because I think you guys are going to enjoy this recreation, and spoiler alert, it is not a B&M invert. So for all you people who are sick and tired of those, I don't know how you can be sick and tired, but if you're ever sick and tired of those inverts, this one is not one of them. So yeah, I've seen some people call this underrated. I'm not actually sure what this ride's like at all, so if you've ever been on Viper at Great America, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and I would be interested to see how it ranks, because I'm not entirely sure what to think about this ride. It looks okay. Apparently it's a mirrored Cyclone layout, so that's a thing. But yeah, leave your thoughts on this ride in the comments if you've been on it, or obviously what you think of it, just in general, if you've never been on it. To me, it just looks like a sort of bog standard wooden coaster with turns and drop. It's really just the roller coaster of all time. This has been a fun challenge, to be honest. I've never done a wooden coaster in this sort of thing, so it's kind of given me a bit of a insight into more of their layouts. It's probably far from the most realistic thing I'll do, but if I was given like a lot longer to do this, I could probably cook up something a bit more realistic. But I think it's all right. It's not horrendously rough either. But it's just kind of a bog-standard wooden coaster, and I think an hour is a perfect amount of time to create something that's a fairly decent ride, based on, just based off of a couple of images and a POV of this thing. But that's kind of what this entire series is. It's kind of meant to design. It's kind of meant to see what you can do in the game with such strict limitations for realism. And I think that's what makes the game more interesting to play when we still haven't had Planet Coaster 2. Come on, Frontier. We know you've got it. Just give it us. But, we can keep hoping. Anyway, this is pretty much done. So let me just quickly give it a test run and we'll see what it rides like. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So I think the next logical thing to do is to make it look a bit more like Viper. So change the colors slightly. It's more of a lighter grey wood, like this sort of color. There we go. Nice. It's also got... I need to change the color of its utilities. So grab this and then change that to be a sort of darkish grey for the lift hill. There we go. And probably do the same for the brakes as well. Give them a grey finish. And then the trains. Now the trains are green with black seats and red restraints. So that's fairly simple. So they are a sort of darkish green, deep green, like that. That's a sort of, that's like a black, I think. And that looks about right. Okay. Yeah. Let me just give it a little bit of terraforming like I did with that, and maybe we'll give it a passing grade. I've just realized something, and I don't know why. I'm almost certain this is what Wicked Cyclone is, isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this layout is Wicked Cyclone, or what it used to be anyway. I've only just made that connection. Again, I could be wrong about that, but yeah, that wasn't a very smart moment from me there. But with 45 seconds to go, I'm officially going to stop the timer now, right? I don't think we've done too bad at all with this. This looks pretty decent. So what I'll do is thank you very much, well, thank you all very much for watching this other challenge video. Again, if you'd like to see more RCDB coasters, give us a like, and also drop in the comments if you'd maybe suggest any other challenges. Leave your thoughts on this ride as a whole and how you think I did on it. And again, thank you all for the support recently on the channel. It's been amazing, and we are so close to 5,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. And I thank each and every one of you for supporting me, because I never thought I'd hit anywhere close to that. So thank you very much. But I will leave you with the raw POV of this, along with a couple of cinematics. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time.